day, ladies and gentlemen of the Kari Mansion. Today you have me, the original Kari, taking your hand in a guiding principle of learning. Yes, today we are going to do a big learn. You guys all seemed to enjoy us looking into different universes, and what better way to meld my React Andy bollocks of enjoying being introduced to new universes like Team Fortress 2 and other such things than to really nail it home with endemic lore videos. So what's on the dockets today? Well, we've done some learning of Team Fortress 2. We've done some learning of the lore of SCP. So it feels like the only other demographic that we could truly pander hit to here that really enjoy having their smoke blown up their proverbial butt cheeks would be League of Legends. So here we are with our good boy, Necrit, the leading figurehead when it comes to explaining anything League of Legends related. So knowledgeable is this man, he has been canonized within the League of Legends universe, a la Pentakill calling him out, which canonizes him as being actually in the universe. Little did you know. But if you ever need to learn anything about League of Legends related or the universe therein, this is your man, apparently. Because if nothing else, we've learned that League of Legends is more than just an obnoxious game for 5-year-old Russian kids to start shouting expletives at you, then it is a very endeavored universe that I truly enjoy. And I enjoy a good story. Even if you don't like the thing the game is based on, you can always enjoy world building. And we are more than just two-dimensional figures. I mean, I'm not, I'm 3D, but that's beside the point. So, as always, please make sure you go watch the original video, like the original video, go and subscribe to Necrit, there'll be links down below in the comments. Make sure you drop by the Twitch side to be here live in person as we react to this nonsense, and let's enjoy this. I have never, personally, really looked too heavily into League of Legends. I've enjoyed Arcane, but that's about the limit of my knowledge. I would love to learn about the story. So, without any further ado, let's get into this.
The two most popular questions I get asked are, is the lore of
Are we gonna need a translator? He has a very thick accent.
We have a lore channel with over 500 videos now. I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't like the story. And I want to read the story, but I don't know where to start. And that is a very hard question to answer.
See, that's
frankly,
always me. Dude, I can't understand talking, let alone lore. So someone else doing it for me is very much appreciated.
For example,
right.
If you are interested in Ionia, you can read—
Oh shit, that's the actual map?
About any champion in any order you want. But
oh yeah, because this is like what they're basing the MOBA off of, right?
Some champions like Riven or Master Yi explain the Noxian chemical warfare, but they still at least mention the main battle at the Placidium. Other champions like Irelia or Kariverse—
so this feels very much like World of Warcraft in a sense, in the fact that, you know, there's like some very key kind of like points in time that are like pivotal. Like I guess that's like there's like a couple of different like spectrums of lore. There's like canonically the pivotal cornerstones of what set up that universe that usually never change. Then there's the middle ground of stuff that's like really good stuff that happened. And then there's the outliers and miscellaneous stuff that's like, did it happen? Is it kind of true? Does that really mean, yeah, you know what I mean, right? So I feel like so long as this explains the core fundamentals, I'll come away with this having been very much awokened.
Karma explain the main battle at the Placidium, but they only hint at the chemical warfare.
Because I've got some like dribs and drabs of knowledge for the game and the universe, so this is hopefully going to bind it all together for me.
That simply telling you that you can read whatever you want is not a good answer. After all, League of Legends does have its main storyline. Despite there being more than 145 champions,
it's weird. I just want to say, it's kind of weird that it's at a stage now where I kind of compare the World of Warcraft universe and the League of Legends universe. Like, they're both so, like, broad and well-defined at this point. Like, even though, like, say what you will about the games, both the League universe and the World of Warcraft universe, they are so well told, they are so well fleshed out. And I never thought I would say this, but I actually think League of Legends' universe is now better than World of Warcraft's. Like, World of Warcraft went down a really weird writing direction many years ago. Whereas League of Legends kind of stuck true to its core principles, and it feels like it's still honestly what it was at its core. Like, the universe is not apologetic or becoming, quote-unquote, woke, if you will.
own unique stories, there is an overarching plotline that serves as the real
Not
story.
that it's bad. I
about
still
all
like
the
World of
others.
Warcraft's plot.
And
That
today,
League
we
to me
will
is
talk
now
about exactly
better
that.
told.
It wasn't an easy task, but I managed to put together the complete story of the main events that affected the universe of League of Legends.
Exactly, it knows what it
The way
is.
I did it was simple. I read a lot.
Yo,
All the
you can
information you're about
read?
to hear
Imagine
can
being
be found
literate.
in various stories and champion bios. But just like you have item descriptions or journal logs in other games, League is also hiding tiny
Makari the
pieces
world
of
is built around the game itself. Unfortunately, Riot hasn't been putting that much effort into world building for the past few years.
Are you kidding? That sounds like a lot of cope from somebody who has been completely ignorant to the fact that Arcane exists, the comic books is, and yeah, sure, it might be comparatively less than what they used to do, but that doesn't change the fact that it's still infinitely more than what World of Warcraft does.
information in places you wouldn't expect. You can actually get a lot of new hidden information by cross-referencing different champion stories. The way it works is
It's
that
still
you
better than
usually have
world
two
building than most
champions from
MMOs
the
do
other
these
side
days.
of the world pointing at different mysteries. But when you realize that they are actually
Ooh.
pointing at the same
Outliers.
thing, you discover something massive. So with all of that said, keep in mind that the story of Runeterra can still get expanded upon. So in the future, some of the things we mentioned here may be already explained and things might be slightly different.
It
In fact,
feels
I
a
would
bit
say
like
that about 15% of this
Warhammer
video
lore,
is
and
sourced
yeah,
from
Final
those
Fantasy
tiny
lore as
pieces
well.
of information.
Like how you
However,
expand
what
upon
I'm
it.
about to show you right
So,
now
all
is
I wanna know
still
is the
the
principles.
closest
I wanna know
thing
the
we can
basis
get
of
to
League of
covering
Legends.
the entire storyline of League of Legends. But enough about unnecessary explanations. Finally, without further ado, let's get into the main storyline of League of Legends.
Knowledge! We're gonna learn! We're gonna
Let's
learn!
start at the very, very beginning. In the ages before time was even...
Genesis! Chapter 1. At the dawn of time, there was me, Makari. I was there. I was in the void, and I said, you know, I'm kind of bored. I'm a shit out of planet. And then, here we are. Yeah, just there was some stuff in between, but yeah, that's the story. There you go. Video over. Bye, guys.
a concept. There was nothing. Or at least that's what the things inside the nothing thought.
What?
You see, since the beginning of time...
Wait, but, okay, wait. So if we're inside, okay, so if there's nothing, but the nothing is in of itself something, does that mean the something was always nothing, or is there nothing that was always something? But if there was nothing to be something to begin with, if there's nothing, that means there's absolutely nothing. That nothing defines that there's nothing there. But there's got to be something for there to be no. Ow, my head.
There were always the Watchers. They are these
But that's
nightmare-shaped...
something. Unless we're using like the metaphorical explanation of nothing just being a place. That's such a such a red herring.
creatures that drifted in the absolute darkness of the universe. The thing is,
Yeah,
that the
Schrodinger's
universe was
nothing.
so dark and empty. The Watchers themselves didn't even know they existed. There was nothing to see.
But also, I appreciate the fact they're using a World of Warcraft model.
And nothing to feel. There was nothing
That's literally one of the
to show
Void
that
Lords
they
in World of
actually
Warcraft.
lived. But that all changed when a tiny spark of light appeared in the empty cosmos.
But how can you get
Suddenly,
something
the
from
Watchers
nothing?
realized they could see. Not only that, they
that's literally
realized
just
that they are
Cthulhu.
conscious beings with senses. Just like that, the spark of light woke up the Watchers from their
I realized the
eternal sleep.
irony.
Naturally, the
I realized the irony in what I said earlier when I said, you know, considering they're telling the League of Legends story with World of Warcraft assets. I mean, to be fair though, this was 4 years ago. This was back when World of Warcraft's lore was at least still somewhat enjoyable.
Watchers were quite annoyed at the tiny spark. Up until now,
my
everything was
eyes!
peaceful
It's
and
VTubers
quiet.
appearing in
But
streaming
this
space.
spark was blinding them, and it was ruining their slumber. When they drifted closer to inspect the light, the Watchers found out that the tiny spark was in fact a window into reality. Inside the reality, dragons of twilight, cosmic beings, and even death itself...
So here's an interesting concept, right? As humans, we can never pertain or understand an end to something. Like, in our mind, we always have to contemplate that there is something beyond what would be considered the end. There is no... We cannot, like, comprehend infinity. Like, you say to yourself that space... That we get to the edge of space, but, well, what's beyond that? There's always something more. Like, we magnified into the deepest part possible, but what's deeper than that? And in some respects, I think that's what this predicates off of slightly, is the fact that in nothing, which derives a definitive nothing, absolutely zero, but acknowledging that there is nothing means there has to have been something.
came to be, and they roamed around the empty space. Some, like Aurelian Soul, spread light around. They left little pieces of themselves behind, which created stars.
This really
And
does
with a
feel
little help
quite,
from cosmic dust, planets
ambiguous,
formed around
I
these
guess.
stars. The absolute majority
Letting
of
the
these
imagination do
newborn
the
worlds
work.
were empty, but sometimes
Empty like
there
my
was
head?
life. The one planet that we know about is Runeterra. Now,
Earth?
Runeterra wasn't
Us?
shaped by accident. The Celestials created this world with the use of the world runes, hence the name Runeterra. But while that was happening, the Watchers observed it all from afar.
Is that
It did-
Vel'Koz? That looks like Vel'Koz. Wait, is Vel'Koz from the Nothing? Oh, because he's from the Void, isn't he? Ooh, is my Vel'Koz boy, like, big in the lore? I played him so much back in the day, but I never actually understood what his lore was. I'm definitely getting some similarities with the WoW lore, though. You know, with the Titans and everything.
Didn't
Not
take
that
long
even
before the
Blizzard know what their own
Celestial
lore is
beings
these
became aware
days.
of them. They knew that something was overlooking their realm, and they knew it was more powerful than anything in their reality. Now, don't take this information for granted. Technically, it should be considered a theory, but it is believed that the Celestials
A theory?
created Runeterra to host
Okay,
an army of powerful
theory.
beings that would defend reality against the Watchers.
You know what else is a theory? I theorize that I'm able to theorize, but because there's nothing in my head, that means my theory isn't actually anything. And because there's not anything in my head, does that mean that I'm actually an Abyss Watcher?
This was never directly confirmed, but as you'll see from the rest of the story, that is highly likely what happened here. Anyway, the planet was created and the Celestials were paying close attention to its development. This is likely the time when Ornn, Anivia, Volibear and the Seal Sister appeared on Runeterra. It is theorized that the Celestials put them there to terraform the planet.
I've seen him in trailers.
The only thing that we get confirmed is that according to his legend, Ornn did actually...
Okay, now explain how they managed to make the planet. Did they like grab two globs of mud and just go and be like, ah, yes, that's a planet? Did they like grab together the detritus off of their floor that they ordered from their McDonald's recently, stuck it together with some duct tape, and turned two half-eaten hamburgers into a planet? Explain, necrit!
Vel'Koz is for sure from the Void.
However,
Larkin
after a
fancy is
mysterious
most definitely
disaster,
not a
the
Watcher.
world runes that created this world were lost and scattered across the same planet. This is likely the reason why Runeterra is a magical world full of spirits.
Interesting. So it feels kind of like it's got similar trappings to the World of Warcraft lore, but it's very much in its own flavor, which I think is kind of nice because it's very easy to kind of... The problem with the story writing is it's very easy to pull on the same narratives. It's why you end up getting like H.P. Lovecraft likes and Geiger like stories, because everything pulls from an original source of some description. Like inspiration is what derives story making. And when you think about like very dark fantasy kind of stuff, everything goes back to one of the progenitors of that genre. Like again, you look at Lovecraft, Geiger, that kind of stuff. And when you look at World of Warcraft, for example, there's a lot of H.P. Lovecraft in there. And when you get another thing that's made in that same universe, that same sort of like genre, it's very easy to end up having something looks and feels almost identical because you're pulling from the same trappings and originality. But what I feel is though, even though there are similarities, the League of Legends and World of Warcraft have immensely different immensely varied storylines. And they have their own flavors enough that even though they have similarities, they're never going to really overlap too heavily, which I kind of like. They've differentiated themselves enough. Or Stephen King, yeah, Stephen King's a good example.
Slowly radiated magic into the surrounding lands. Millennia passed and life started blooming on Runeterra. First, it was Yordles, Animals, and the Vastaya Shirei who started appearing on the ocean floor. But humans later joined them when they started covering the surface. This was very important to the Celestials. As mortals began emerging, the Celestials started fiddling with their lives.
Reading about this actually.
In fact, according to the Celestials, they had some kind of grand design for the mortals. The story specifically avoids...
So, in my mind, I kind of would relate the Celestials to being the Titans? Or one of the, like, ancestral... No, not the Titans. Maybe the Titans from World of Warcraft kind of thing? Like, the reason why I'm trying to correlate things here, like, connect things, is just because I'm trying to figure out things from what I know. So I know that's not the case, but I'm trying to, like, figure it out in my head. So the Celestials were more like guardians, I suppose. Kind of like the like the dragons from World of Warcraft, I guess.
Telling us what the design was. But at least we know that living beings
intermediaries,
had a
I guess.
The evolution of life
Watchers,
wasn't an accident.
guardians.
To strengthen the relationship between the Celestials and the mortals of Runeterra, the Celestials did two things. First, they created star constellations. These were images that served as messages to guide mortals to their intended purpose. It was an easy way to communicate with them. And second, the Celestials created...
Bruh. I'm sorry. Who looks up in the sky and is like, ah, yes, the gods want me to kill my family. Yeah, no, that's what they want me to do. No, it wasn't me that did it. The stars, they told me to kill my family. No, it wasn't me. The stars were simply telling me that I needed to shit in the sink.
Mount Dargon. An interesting fact is that the mountain was literally ripped from the ground. It is as if someone pinched the earth and pulled it up. That's why it is much steeper than any other mountain. Also, you may notice that a lot of the mountain surface is covered in ice. Partially, it is because it is really cold up there. But it's also because as the mountain was being pulled up, it was also dragging lakes and rivers with it.
Oh shit.
So a lot of the ice is vertically frozen lakes stuck to the mountain.
Oh, that's really cool.
Mount Dargon was a pretty successful invention.
Oh my god, okay, I saw this picture and I straight up thought that was the ocean underneath it. And I was like, wait a minute. That photo I saw a second ago of them looking up, that I just realized those are just other mountains. That's actually really freaking cool. I love that concept. That's really awesome.
It served as a beacon of godly light and magic that attracted beings from all over the world. The more advanced mortals even formed their own civilization around its peak, which gave them a deeper connection with the celestial realm. And after some time, few of the most trusted individuals were elevated by the Celestials, specifically by the Celestial aspects, creating the very first ascended beings.
Imagine being the person who gets promoted in that situation, like, okay, Jimmy, you're not on the line anymore, you're getting promoted to shift manager.
They were carefully poking
you just gotta leave your body behind, okay?
Gathering any information about what the reality is, and more specifically, how can they get rid of it. The Celestials noticed these holes in realities that we know as void drift.
I love how casual that is, though, nonchalantly. Oh, nah, mate, we got a little portal in reality. That's like such a Star Trek narrative, you know? Casually on the Starship Enterprise. Ah, yes, Data, there appears to be a break in the fabric of space and time. We need to use our quantum entanglement fabric matrices to close those breaks in time, otherwise the cringe inhibitors from the other plane will seep through into our world. Oh, God.
And they quickly moved to the next stage of control.
Yeah, just close it up, close it. We don't want to let those VTubers in
here.
It was
about this time when Aurelian Soul flew by and he noticed how...
Daddy? Damn it! Freaking exposing myself as a furry again. Yo, Dragon Daddy? Damn! Oh shit, he's huge! I just noticed that down there. That is some immensely awesome iconography. I love that. Like, the fact that his face is just a straight-up mask as well. He's, like, holding a constellation by the looks of it. You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of this, oh, what was his name? Huion. No, not Huion. There was a celestial dragon in Mogushan Vaults in World of Warcraft. Was it Huion? Oh, I can't remember. Either way, it reminds me a little bit of that.
How much the life on Runeterra bloomed. And
Elegant,
when he
yes,
got
thank
closer,
you.
He noticed that all the tiny mortals looked up at him, and they worshipped him. Now this...
Oh, wait, was this guy that... Because there was an entire, like, intermediary race in World of Warcraft. Like, Allegon. Allegon. Oh, man, that's giving me some friggin' Ulduar. Damn it, dude. I miss World of Warcraft when Ulduar was, like, the big thing. Ah, man. I remember the Allegon fight. I remember wiping on that shit because it was like such a rare. Anyway, anyway.
Didn't mind at all.
That's what I'm being reminded of.
To visit Runeterra between his journeys into the dark. At one point, the mortal community up on the mountain, who were now known as
yes,
the
no, it's not Allegon. Algalon.
offered Aurelian Soul a crown. Aurelian, of course, appreciated the gesture of gratitude, and he happily put it on. But as he did that, he willingly chained himself to the planet, because the crown bound Aurelian to the will of the ascended Targonians. Aurelian
why
Soul
would you do
was
that?
enslaved.
Don't trust
we
humans.
don't really know if
They're
it was
creating
just the
McDonald's.
Targonians who did this on their own, or if it was a plan of the celestial beings to enslave Aurelian Soul. But either way, the reason why Aurelian Soul was enslaved was because he was powerful enough to seal the void rifts. He was an effective weapon.
Dude, the human race was like, yeah, bro, we can offer you a 0-hour contract. Just wear this stupid McDonald's Burger King crown. It's a 0-hour contract. We're not going to pay you. We're going to put you into slave labor, pay you absolutely nothing, and we can terminate you at any point. it's the equivalent of what they put the Celestial into retail work. Oh my god.
Against
Stacking the shelves.
Aurelian had a massive
Stacking
ego
the
and he couldn't
celestial
care less about
shelves.
the lives of mortals. So that's why he had to be forced to properly help the reality. At this point, the Watchers were at their limits.
Thanks for the follow, by the way.
They wanted to learn more about Runeterra, but they were massive, and the rifts were tiny. The Watchers
Yeah, now
simply
I know
couldn't
why
fit
he's upset
through.
with Earth.
But
I
it didn't
knew
take
of
them
that
too
character
long
and he
to
was
figure out
angry,
that
but now I know
all they
why.
needed to do was to reach a mortal being and control it. If they corrupted something and sent it out, they could use it
Oh, look
as
at that happy guy! Look at him! He's so cool looking. That's my aesthetic right there.
spy. So the way the Watchers gathered more information more effectively was by sending out horribly morphed beings to devour other beings and gather their information.
Insert allegory about horribly dysmorphed beings being the Karens that turn up at retail shops.
The reason why information is so important to the Watchers is because they could easily use it against Runeterra. The more they learn about how living beings are constructed and what living beings are
The more they were
the more
repulsed.
powerful void-born creatures they can create and release from the
Oh.
rifts. But the Watchers
That's
realized
some
that deconstructing and
Orwell
recreating
levels
beings
of
is not the only
artwork.
way to win this war. Up in
Some
Freljord,
Usher
they were
stairs.
playing a different game.
MC Ushers.
They managed to slowly corrupt the mind of an individual that almost doomed the entire planet. Of course, we're talking about
Trump.
Lissandra.
Oh. Same thing.
Lissandra was one of the 3 sisters that ruled Freljord, the second most powerful region at that time, right after Targon. The 3 sisters were Lissandra, Sorilda, and Avarosa. And all of them were drawn
The thing
to
is,
celestial
though,
magic.
I feel like dooming
Sorilda
the
wanted to
planet
command the
has to have
celestial
happened at
heavens,
least
but
5
for her
times for your
arrogance, she
universe
lost
to
her
be
voice for the
canonically
first
existed.
Twilight. Avarosa witnessed
for
the
people to want to
twisting
play your
dark
game,
overworking the world,
At
and
some
she
point
was
in the lore,
deafened
your
by
world
its
needs to have
complete
died
emptiness.
or come
And
close to
Lissandra
dying at least 5 times.
disrespected the wild magic of Runeterra, and as her punishment, she was blinded by Volibear. Together, one blind, one
Oh.
deaf, and one mute, the
Oh,
3
Illidan.
sisters ruled Freljord. Since she was blind, Lissandra had to
Wait,
rely on
no, I'm sorry. This is how fucking World of Warcraft pilled I am. Those are Vicruels. That's Ysera. That's the person who Yogg-Saron inhabited to voice himself into the world. That's a female barbarian. That's a female Vicruel warrior, and that's a female ranger Vicruel. Frost Vicruel. That you find specifically in Icecrown Citadel and Storm Peaks. Sorry, I stand corrected. That one on the right is Sif. Then the one in the middle and the one on the left, those are just regular Vicruel. Frost Vicruel. Vicruel. Please don't come out with porn. Please don't come out with porn. There you go. See? That design. See? I know things. I'm wow-pilled.
Freljord.
I hate the
Since
fact that I
she
can
was
recognize
blind,
that. I hate
Lissandra had to
that
rely
so
on
much.
her hearing and delving into dreams. This meant that over time her hearing was so good she could hear what others could not. Voices that echoed through the fabric of reality. Unfortunately, what she didn't know is that it was the Watchers who slowly corrupted her.
Oh.
Years
I believe
passed
that's the
and
definition
Lissandra now
of
fully
stare into the
trusted
void and the
Watchers.
void stares
But she
back.
didn't dare tell her sisters about them. In secret, Lissandra even struck a deal with the Watchers. The Watchers would give her people near immortality. This power of
A good
immortality
deal.
is what created the Iceborn, who are basically
I'd like
Freljordians
immortality.
touched by the power of the void.
Which you can get by joining
And
the Makari
in
Mansion.
return, all the Watchers wanted was a safe place to rest when they visit their world. To Lissandra, this was an offering she couldn't decline.
You know
And
what,
so
Curious?
she
That's true. If you stare into the void stares back. But what does the void think about my anime physics? What do they think about my tier 3 subs? Do they like my YouTube videos? And if not, why aren't they subbed? Just saying.
accepted the terms on her sister's behalf. More years later, when the Freljord was ready for the Watchers,
God damn it, I hate my community! I hate my community! Fucking Mr. Kangaroo just said, and are they breedable? Can we breed? No, no breeding, no breeding. We are not turning this video into a freaking degen hour. Good God. The void can stare at these nuts. Only you guys, only freaking you guys could turn a cosmological horror, an endless abyss of monstrous eldritch creatures, into a perverse, profaned degen pit. You guys are terrible, but I'm so proud.
without a warning, they started emerging from the abyss,
Oh, no.
revealing Lissandra's hidden allegiance. Unfortunately, their horrible twisted forms were not what Lissandra expected, and she realized the grave mistake she had made.
So she got catfished. Like, straight up Chris Hansen'd into signing a deal with the devil. So you're actually here to make a deal with this woman when you said that you were, in fact, you know, just take a seat right over there. Just take a seat right over there. It's what we call finessing.
She invited the end itself
See,
to their
you want a
world.
hentai?
At
This is how
point,
hentai
Lissandra
starts.
had two
So now the
options.
tentacle's gonna
Let
be everywhere.
the world be consumed, or sacrifice everything she had ever had. And so, using her iceborne powers, Lissandra managed to freeze everything and everyone who was present, killing Sorilda and Avarosa in the process.
Oh.
This is how a couple of Watchers got frozen in the Howling Abyss, while the rest escaped. After this defeat, the Watchers retreated, but not without new information.
And knowledge
Many
is
decades
half
later,
battle.
on the other side of the world, the war against the Void took another turn. Even though Dargon had Aurelian's soul under their control, and they dealt with all the easily accessible rifts, sometimes they had to deal with smaller tears in reality that couldn't be accessed by a massive celestial
Ooh, that's
dragon.
such a cool
That's why the
design.
Celestials
Like
had
something that I like. World of Warcraft does this as well, and I say this again. I use World of Warcraft as my analogy, as my like comparison, because it's the main thing I know. Something that World of Warcraft and League of Legends does really well is color theory. Something that's kind of missing a bit from some other brands, like nothing against Final Fantasy, because they do good, but something that World of Warcraft and the League universe do really, really fucking well, Riot and Blizzard, color theory. Like, you see purple, you think the Void. You see blue, you see Freljord. World of Warcraft's the same. You think blue, you think Shamans, you think the Ice Crown Citadel, you think Snow. Like, color theory is so important, and I'll actually be honest, I think Riot does better with color theory, because it's not even just connotated to specific things. When I say a color in the League universe, it's really easy to think about the entirety of that place, rather than just specific examples. Like, you say blue, you think Freljord, you think red, you think the yeah, those guys, you know what I'm saying, right? Or you know, blue, Freljord, friggin' purple, being the Void, green, Noxus, the gassy people, the ones that were in Arcane.
Hello there.
You know what I mean, right? Color theory makes a huge impact. And again, World of Warcraft does it great. I love World of Warcraft's color theory. It really hits hard. But Riot's done it in such a way that it kind of encapsulates an entire subject rather than just specific points. Like, every location, like every region in the Riot universe is very much themed on a color. And again, WoW does do that on occasion, but it's more like, it's a bit more wish-washy, and especially with more recent expansions, it doesn't really do as well.
Red is Noxus. You're thinking on the Chemtic City?
Yes, that's the one. Sorry, thank you. Yeah, that's what I meant. Thank you. Yeah, again, I'm not that knowledgeable. Thank you for being my gap fill there, guys. I know some things, you know. Arcane and other stuff in the Riot universe has taught me some of this stuff. In fact, I do want to go back and watch the Rune Tales at some point as well. I did mention that whilst we watched the League cinematics, that I wanted to watch those at some point.
to nudge mortals to start a new empire. This time, more to the east. Under the guidance of the Celestials, the new Shuriman Empire began constructing a massive disk in Nerimazeth. Using this disk, they attempted to channel celestial powers into their chosen soldiers. But the experiment failed and the disk was destroyed. Later, they made another attempt at this more to the east. This time they constructed a much bigger sun disk that would create super soldiers capable of fighting back the void. These soldiers would get many different names. Gold Warriors, Golden Warriors, Sunborn, but we know them as Shuriman Ascendant.
Yes!
Here we
I knew something! Okay, I'm gonna be like brutally honest here. A good portion of what I know in the League universe is from Falcon Shield's music. I am woefully guilty of letting most of this be what's educated me about League of Legends. And I'm not gonna lie, it's a good way. Like, the music, like getting into a franchise from the machinimas, like this is what made World of Warcraft popular. Like, back in the day, the thing that got people into World of Warcraft a lot were the machinimas being made, the illegal Danish, all the endless machinimas people made. But, you know, this was still a good introduction for me to learn the basics of just names and certain factions and stuff. And from that, I was able to understand much more about Arcane and other things when I started getting more interested in the League universe. Fan engagement is what keeps these universes fresh. And sometimes the fan engagement is what shapes the universe.
And the grand leader of the
especially in League of Legends.
He was loved by pretty much everyone, but keep in mind that he was still a human. He became Ascended much later. Nasus became the...
Hey guys, we found the furries. Look at them with their stupid dog faces. Funny thing, I knew about this character long before I knew they were in League of Legends. Because about 7 years ago, somebody commissioned me to draw some very, very homoerotic content with this character involving their character. And they paid me good money for it, so who was I to say no? I just didn't know at the time it was League of Legends.
wisest of the Ascended. His knowledge of war tactics would become irreplaceable. And the third important character is Setaka.
I just thought he was another overly elaborately designed furry.
Host, and she was the deadliest of all the Ascended. As the Empire was growing and the number of their god warriors was expanding, other nations became suppressed, and some even feared the unstoppable army of Shurima. One such nation was the Kingdom of Ikathia. Their leader, the infamous Mage King, had enough of cowering before their might,
I hardly know her.
So he went to war against Azir. Now the Mage King knew...
well... Hey guys, look, it's Italy. It's me! Now all I can imagine is all of the void creatures with an Italian accent. Like friggin' Vel'Koz. Void the disintegration ray! I'm going to shoot you with my tentacles, but oh darn! Bobbity boopy, bibbity bobbity boopy.
His small kingdom of mages would not stand a chance against the Ascended. So he called upon a power greater than what the Sun Disk could offer. He called upon the Void.
Summon
During
the
the battle
void.
for Ikathia,
Oh,
a massive void
that's a
consumed
big thing.
the kingdom. And after hundreds of years of observing, the Watchers had another chance to silence all reality. Using their previously gathered knowledge.
I wake up after a long nap, and sometimes I wish I could silence reality as well. Because the voices in my head keep telling me to start fires, and I really, really wish they wouldn't. Sometimes I just want to wake up in the morning and play Helldivers, you know? But hey.
The Watchers corrupted everything they touched, and they created new Voidborn abomination the world had never seen. This was a war on a scale...
I was about to make one other reference, and this is something that I think the League universe does that World of Warcraft will never even come close to. I get a lot of Magic the Gathering vibes out of League of Legends. Some of this artwork, some of the designs remind me so much. And even like the universe in of itself reminds me a lot of Magic the Gathering. I've actually kind of looked into the Magic the Gathering world. There's a lot of parallels between Magic the Gathering's universe and League of Legends. Maybe not so much more these days, considering how weird Magic the Gathering's gotten. But like back in the day, when Magic the Gathering was in its infancy and it still had its like fundamentals kind of knuckled down, I guess, there was much more of a comparison between the League universe and Magic the Gathering. These days, it's still there, I guess.
Nobody expected. But after many sacrifices, including Setaka, who died while being torn apart by these abominations,
Eldrazi?
the Ascended won,
absolutely.
but at a great cost. Not only was the rift in Ikathia so big that even today it is still not fully sealed, but most of those who survived were permanently marked by the Void. Before this battle, the Watchers had never even seen a God
look at that
warrior
design!
Before, so they weren't
That's literally
able
like
to
MC
fully corrupt
Escher
anyone,
levels of design.
But their mark was enough to leave a tiny whispering voice in everyone's mind. Thankfully, even though their war commander Setaka was dead, Azir and Nasus remained untouched by the Void, and they kept all the Void-touched warriors under control. Of course, it didn't stay that way forever. Xerath, Azir's slave, who was also his best friend.
This guy was actually... So, Falcon Shield's song about this guy was the first League song I ever listened to. So this guy has a bit of a sentiment in my heart.
And a guide.
Waking
saw him as a naive emperor. Everyone saw Azir as a kind-hearted leader. But there were still countless slaves dying under his rule. Now, secretly, Azir was planning...
Excuse me, I need to be a degen for like 5 seconds. Just 5 seconds, guys. Just, listen, whenever Inky's here, she doesn't have the ability of being, having the ability to turn around, but, Must touch the thighs. Listen, if they did not want me to touch these thighs, they wouldn't have exposed them. Look, this is a perfect thigh gap right here. Ah, so big and strong. Sorry. Had to be done.
Now, secretly, Azir was planning to free all the slaves on the day of his ascension. It was meant to be a big surprise to everyone, including Xerath. But when the day arrived, Xerath became jealous of the power Azir would get. So Xerath pushed Azir from the Ascension sunlight, and he drained all the power of the Sun Disk himself. This led to Azir's death and the destruction of the capital city. But what's worse, it also left all the Void-touched Ascended without a leader to keep them under control. The only
just
one
come
who
join
could do
me.
something
I'll
about
lead
this
you.
was Nasus. He was wise, but more importantly, he
no, I'm
was
not wise. Never
touched
mind.
by the Void.
I put all
However,
my
keeping so many
stats
corrupted
into
Ascended in
stupid.
line was an impossible task even for him. And eventually, it was so dangerous, Nasus had to go into hiding. This meant that the Ascended warriors, now without a leader,
Is what he wanted you to think. I'd like to think the real reason he went into hiding was he found the Rule 34 I'd drawn of him. You're welcome, guys. I'm the reason Nasus no longer wanted to lead anymore. Did I mention that I'm canonically part of the League of Legends universe, by the way?
or purpose, and with tingling void whispers in their minds,
Ooh,
went
tingles.
absolutely insane. Instead of being seen as godly
Honestly,
beings, the
average
Ascended
reaction
slowly
to knowing
turned
that
into
somebody's drawn
brutal
furry
warlords.
smut of
They
your
fought each
character.
other, sometimes to gain more power, sometimes to settle their differences.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, they figured out how to control the whispers in their mind, and they created a brand new kind of magic. Blood magic, which they used to reshape and improve their bodies.
Oh, isn't
Soon-
that the guy who was so angry that he literally stabbed a god? Who's like really, really big and was in that cinematic we watched the other day? Like the guy with the cursed sword or whatever it is. Ah, what was his name? Like the really big guy. Aatrox. Yes, Aatrox. Yeah, dude, Aatrox is one of those characters that absolutely like encapsulates me. Like there are some characters in the League universe that I've gone out of my way to try and learn about. Aatrox fascinates me. I love his concept.
The Ascended Warriors were known as the Darkin, and this era would become known as the Great Darkin War. During these times, the entire world was in conflict, as the Darkin conquered as
World
much
War,
land for
if you will.
themselves as they could. While all of this was happening, the Celestials
Aatrox.
watched it
Oh,
all.
Aatrox,
Their
right, sorry.
warriors who were supposed to fight back
I've never
the
actually
Void
really
were
read
now
that.
fighting each other, and they were more dangerous to the mortals than the Watchers themselves.
Oh.
So the Celestials had to remove them. The simplest way to do so was to send the aspect of Twilight to Shurima. There she would teach mortals how to seal the Darkin inside the
Who is this sassy lost child? Did somebody forget to turn off their anime this morning? Why is there a sassy lost anime child here? Like, at some point, League of Legends just watched far too much anime. And you can tell, because there was a distinctive point in the Riot timeline where their designs were kind of gritty and Lovecraftian, and all of a sudden, they started putting in cute shit like this. Not that that's really wrong, but she looks like I want to punt her.
their weapons. It took a couple of years, but in the end, the surviving Shurimans together with the Targonian aspect sealed all the remaining Darkin.
Shurimens? What
And
about Shuri
finally,
women?
the world saw peace again. For a while, anyway.
Of course.
If we look back at what
It is
just
human
happened,
nature to be
this
boring.
entire Shuriman experiment was a massive loss for the Celestials. They wanted to have an army to fight the Void, but instead they ended up with the biggest Void Rift they have ever seen. So the Celestials needed an entirely new plan. But before they could figure something out, mortals took their fate into their own hands. Possibly
Fucking humans! God damn it! It's always the humans' fault. You can't just be given something. Like, humans are like, well, we do have the gods on our side doing everything for us. But you know what's better than having the gods doing things for us? Us. Fucking things up for ourselves. So, you know what, gods? Stop doing what you're doing. We got this. Hold our beer and let the humans give it a go.
in the worst way imaginable. You see, now that the Darkin were gone and the world was left in utter ruins, even the simplest man could become a king by simply scavenging whatever he could. And that's exactly what came next. The Age
Viego?
of Men. The first to step up was Mordekaiser.
Oh.
He was a brutal warlord.
Mordekaiser, my boy! I learned about this guy from Pentakill. I learned so much about this guy from Pentakill, other than the fact that he can be big. Big boy. Huge boy.
Who easily swept across Valoran and conquered the entire continent.
Oh shit.
Only when the rest of the world united against him was his dark reign ended. Fast forward a couple of years and the
then he
world
took up a
was
guitar
simply
and
at
took
war
to playing
again.
a band
but
instead.
This war was unlike any other. Remember when the Celestials lost the world runes at the beginning of the story? Well, mortals began uncovering them.
Oh.
Random mages around the world held stones with the power to create worlds. It was pretty much the equivalent to holding a nuke. This
I was about to say, that sounds like a random civvy getting a hold of a WMD.
sounds scary, but everything was fine as long as people were just threatening to fire the nukes.
Oh my god. It's been Earth the whole time. You know that meme, the astronauts? It's just Earth. Always has been.
But once the first nuke was fired, the second followed, and then the third, and
Oh,
the fourth. While the
God.
Celestials were trying to come up with a new plan, mortals literally set the world on fire. This conflict became...
So, what we're seeing here isn't a shot from League of Legends universe. This is, in fact, the average Tuesday in the south of London. I'm just saying.
became known as the Rune Wars. Sometimes Celestials managed to calm down some of the conflicts. Usually this was done with the help of the Targonian aspects, or with the help of Bard. Bard is a Celestial who specifically comes down on Runeterra to take powerful magical items away from mortals, just so they wouldn't use them in another war.
Literally, mum. No. Okay, come on, Jimmy. You're not allowed to play with the toy anymore. Come on, give me the toy. Give me the toy. Give me the toy. You set the world on fire. Go to your room. You bad little shit. No toy. You abused it. You lose it.
The last time we saw Bard was during the battle for Bard Mountain in Ionia, where he took away this magical egg. Later Celestials even tried to create more constellations to show people more messages. But at this point, mortal minds were too...
Dude, hold up. Just imagine if this was what they did, right? Imagine if this was the night sky. So imagine this was the night sky, right? If they really wanted to leave an imposing mark, some guy that felt like a bit like one of the Celestials who felt a bit trolly is like, yeah, let's give them a sign. You know, they just all they had to do was just put this in the sky, and you'd have little Jimmy down here going, whoa, dude, yo, what are they trying to tell us? Oh man, I could never. I don't know what they're trying to tell us, man. Like they must really be trying to leave us a story. Bruh.
Primitive, and they usually thought it was signs of doom. But sometimes even mortals helped.
Like
On the
shit
Blessed
posting
Isles, there was a cult of
has been a
mages
thing since
dedicated
the
to
dawn of
collecting
time,
the world
apparently.
runes. They did it to hide them away from other mortals. But even that didn't help. In the end, during this era, the most powerful nations were wiped out. In the east, only Noxus remained.
So is League of
After they
Legends just
wiped out their
basically a
neighbors.
post-apocalyptic
Yes,
dystopian
this circle
future?
you see here is actually a crater. There was supposed to be another nation here.
Oh!
And in the west, the
Do you guys want to take a wild guess and say that when the MMO comes out, that's going to be an expansion? Like right there's going to be an expansion. Like one of the expansions for the Riot MMO is, hey, by the way, guys, time warp. This place came back.
is actually a crater. There was supposed to be another nation here. And in the west, Demacia was built as a purely anti-magic nation. We know that there are a couple of nations between them. For example, the Arbormar Kingdom. But we don't know much else. This is where the modern lore of League of Legends begins. So if we have a look at the world right now, the Watchers are constantly looking for a way to invade Runeterra because they are annoyed by its existence. The north is hiding a massive void rift frozen beneath the holding abyss.
Right.
The south has
TLDR.
a massive void rift still open there. Not big enough to fit a Watcher through, but big enough to spawn a void army. The western and eastern Valoran is at war, the entire Shuriman continent is mostly in ruins, and the Blessed
And I still can't get my Uber delivery to my house within a respectable amount of time. The world we live in.
Isles blew up. Only Ionia is somewhat decently holding it together, but Noxus had to screw them up too. Remember when I mentioned that the Celestials had mortals as a part of a bigger design? Again, the Celestials likely created mortal beings to use them all as soldiers in this galactic war. Well, whatever purpose mortals were supposed to have, it is
Your mistake? Your mistake was expecting mortals not to fuck it up. Because if the timeline we currently live on is anything to go by, giving mortals any responsibility is like saying, why yes, we never wanted to have anything functional to begin with.
Are beyond the celestial control now. So now you may be wondering, what happens next? Well, the main story can go a number of ways. We can learn more about the world runes through the vault in Demacia. Or maybe the Watchers will try to get through the rift in the north. Or the dark...
So, because this video is a bit older, I'm assuming the narrative's moved a bit since this, right? So, I'm going to leave this video here, but what I'm going to say is if you guys would like to go on this learning experience with me, and if you would like to go and enjoy some education of the League variety together, then I will be taking suggestions on how I can take my knowledge from here. Because I feel like this has done a good job of teaching me the foundations. I've actually learned from this. This has been great. It's actually given me some general understanding about the basis of the League universe. But as I'm being told by my chat, the story has apparently moved on a lot. So if you would like to see me continue my knowledgeable journey of the League universe, let me know in the comments. Suggest me some of the lore videos that would be the most progressive to go from here. And we'll see what we do with this. I hope you've liked this, guys. Please make sure you go follow necrit on his channel. And I guess we'll see where this goes. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is done at this point, right?
Make a comeback and the Celestials will have to deal with them again. Riot created a playground where they can do a lot of different things. Just remember, it really doesn't matter where you begin to read. Every champion and every story makes sense on its own, so you can't get lost. If you ask me, start with the stories found on Silas's page. He's a great champion.
Yeah, so about that, reading's for nerds, and I don't read. So I get you to do it for me. So with that being, ladies and gentlemen, as I said, like the video, comment, subscribe, come by Twitch, and I'll see all of you fluther muckers in the next video. For education purposes, of course. Bye!